Hello everybody, this is my final assignment video for Professor Ian class Language Logic and Thought, an analysis of Jubilee video. Can 100 women find the highest IQ? This is my agenda which this video will cover. For the introduction, why did I choose this video? Well, because it has over 1.3 million views, it had over 10 million subscribers, and it includes 100 women self-eliminate and self-nominate, which I will discuss in later, and solely based on social interaction, which I find interesting.
Behind me, 100 women are currently taking an IQ test to figure out who is the least and most intelligent. Can they figure out who ranked the highest? Well,
for the research question, I realized why do participants who voluntarily enter a contest explicitly designed to establish a ranking based on cognitive function systematically collaborate to dismantle the validity of that very hierarchy before the result or even review? So first, let's go to the literature review. This is urban government. Primary framework basically is the invisible set of rules that help answer the question, what's actually happening right now? These rules are usually universally accepted, meaning we understand them without having to say them out loud, and they help us to label and organize reality. However, we can change that reality through keying, which we didn't read in class. Keying is a systematic transformation or a structural shift where we take an event and basically cover it or laminate it, a new layer of meaning over that event. For example, keying can turn a real fight into play fighting. We use specific cue and signal to know when this shift begins and ends. Next, we will talk about the reproduce concept of symbolic violence or symbolic power. This is power is not physical, but instead it is transmuted or changed into a symbolic form of power. Because it is invisible, it is usually misrecognized as legitimate, meaning people accept it as right and natural rather than seeing it as control. This often happens in institutions like school, because of course school determine what knowledge is valuable, turning social differences like into academic grades. Crucially, this power relies on complicity. Basically, the power being dominated actually agree to the system that ranks them, often without realizing it. Finally, we look at meta-pragmatics, discussed by Laura Ahan and Michael Silverstein. Simply, this is language, talking about language. It covers our language ideology, like the belief that we have about how people speak and how those beliefs shape our judgment of others. Silverstein argued that this discourse strictly organize and classify our social world. We use meta-pragmatic to link micro-level speech, like an accent or a specific phrase or wording, to macro-level structures, like social class or identity. It is a way of imposing a specific vision on how the world should be divided. This is my thesis. That in the video, the pivot from talking about IQ to other form of intelligence, like doing art and like street mob, is not merely a defense mechanism or just them acting nice. It is a frame dispute to neutralize the symbolic violence of the IQ test and the video interviewing format. The video established primary framework is that of the IQ exam. It is basically a vertical zero-sum structure where one person higher IQ score can translate to another one low and disappointing failure. However, the participant in the video actively key the event into a horizontal structure. By engaging with the meta-pragmatic discourse that validates unverifiable metrics like EQ or being street smart, the group stripped the IQ test of its social paradigmic power. They have effectively rewrite the definition of the situation so that the official winner, i.e. the one with the highest IQ score, no hold no more symbolic capital than the moral winner, that having like being the street, the most street mods, or having the highest EQ, thereby immunizing the group against the threat of losing face or public humiliation. So for my methodology, of course, I will only watch the one video that I have captured before. I will mainly focusing on the conversations. There's three main kind of it. The one is the main one, between the contestant with each other. The second one is the interview of each individual participant after they have been eliminated. And third is the narrator, where she would pop in to sort of narrate the show. Firstly, the narrator is the one telling all of the rules, including self-elimination / self-nomination.
Time for the first round. So we need the 10 people who believe they have the lowest IQ to leave. When you decide to leave, please exit by pressing the counter and then stepping aside. We're asking you to leave if you believe you're ranked 50 and below. You have 5 minutes for you to leave unless you believe you're one of the top 10 smartest people. Your time starts now.
Most people, when they are talking about their lack of high IQ, they tend to focus that they are good in other facets, especially on the arts and creative and emotional.
I was like, okay, for IQ tests, as much as people like to say they're not important, they are, because it kind of gauges where we can go in society. Because, I mean, I want a brain surgeon, you know, being really good at art and awful at math. I mean, that wouldn't really make any sense. So
I feel like I'm more of a creative person than someone that is smart. I've never been that bright in the books.
Many people don't like IQ tests as an indicator of intelligence, instead referring to different kinds of intelligence, or just dismantling the testing system by the institution itself.
I think still doesn't even tell you if you understand the concept. It tells you how good of a test taker you are.
I
How good
know.
you were memorizing the material, but it doesn't necessarily measure how much you understood the material.
Right.
Also, just taking an IQ test, like people don't measure intelligence.
Intelligence and IQ are two very different
from like your social skills and like just stuff like that. So common sense street smarts versus just like a
I think still doesn't even tell you if you understand the concept. It tells you how good of a test taker you are.
I
How good
know.
you were memorizing the material, but it doesn't necessarily measure how much you understood the material.
Right.
Some even blame their upbringing, like not living in America, or the faults of their parents for their low IQ.
sorry, mom and dad, if you see this. I didn't have parents that are educated, and
I didn't really grow up in like the U.S. education system. In general, I like to consider myself an intelligent person in different ways, but when it comes to U.S. standardized testing, I think being honest with myself, there is a gap in the.
Finally, the show equates high IQ to high intelligence or smartness. Firstly, the thumbnail design is, of course, the word smartest and high IQ being in the same frame. Secondly, all of the woman is pointing towards a separated one, symbolizing a higher authority to other people. And of course, I have shown the opening section of where the narrator introduced the highest intelligence contest. Let's move on to the analysis section. Firstly, is the frame of the IQ test. When the MC announced that the goal is to rank intelligence, they immediately established a primary framework of the exam. This creates a vertical structure, meaning for someone to be at the top, someone else must be at the bottom, where the IQ test is treated as the ultimate truth and examiner. If a participant accepts these terms, they are submitting themselves to a system where a low score becomes a very threatening act, basically a severe blow to their public reputation and self-image. I believe that this setup exerts symbolic violence. It takes an arbitrary social criterion which is just the specific ability to take this one type of standardized test and disguise it as an objective fact about a personal worth. While the show relies on the active complicity of the group as their willingness to go along with the rules, we actually see a lot of resistance. Like a lot of contestants mention high IQ, many of them blaming the education system, dismantling the education system, as well as blaming their parents. In doing so, they are actively refusing to accept this one-dimensional structuring. This overly narrow definition of what it means to be smart.
Here, the participant initiate a strategic keying. They transform the situation from a competitive exam into a horizontal support system, basically a friendly, non-competitive space where everyone is valued equally instead of being ranked. This shift is crucial for phase management. By agreeing that there are other ways to be smart, they secure their positive phase, which is their deep desire to be liked or approved by others. This is I think, a defensive move is act as an outbreaker strategy, an indirect way to protect themselves. If they get a low IQ score later, it won't hurt as much because they have already agreed that the test doesn't actually matter. So, how do participants fight back against this hierarchy? Uh, they use the meta pragmatic discourse by using language to criticize the rule of the contest itself, by insisting that EQ and other unverifiable metrics matter more than IQ. They engage in an ideological contestation. They are challenging the authority of the test and the video maker, refusing to accept it as the only truth. They argue, by many of them, that the test is too limited. This collective agreement strips the IQ test of its symbolic efficiency. It takes away the test's power to define the participants' social status. As long as the group agree that IQ is a real measure, the low IQ scores can't hurt them. This is a very powerful form of social action where the group protects themselves from humiliation by creating their own safer definition of reality.
In conclusion, through my analysis, I hope people can realize that social reality is not fixed, and by individuals and collectives can work together to dismantle imposed structures and redefine what intelligence really means. So this is the end of my presentation. I would love to hear you guys comments, as I still have 1 week. I have a lot of points of talking and thinking that I haven't been able to present. Firstly, there's a lot of talking among the women about men underestimating them, thus leading to them underestimating themselves. I would really love to dive deeper into that. Furthermore, although most of them said that IQ test doesn't matter, but when they receive a high score, they still cry and they still said that they tried very hard. It's a very fun consideration. I would love to dive deeper into also. Yeah, thank you.
I don't think that IQ has anything to do with like real intelligence or what I actually value. Okay, I guess I take it back. So I got 2. Okay, I thought it wouldn't mean much because I actually assumed that I would score really low. So this actually means a lot. I'm so surprised.